about those experiences?
Well, initially I was a club kid. I remember getting dropped off there at 5 and a half. The Boys and Girls Club, you have to be 6 to go there first, but my mother just dropped me off at 5 and a half, and I started going there so young that I started knowing everybody. And when I got 14, I had a younger brother, Cadez, and I started taking care of him and looking out for him at such a young age. So when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, with my leeway to do whatever I wanted, I was like, how could I impact? And I remember helping him with his homework and all these different types of things. So they had what they called a library up there, and they got a computer lab and whatnot. But in the library, I seen that there was a lot of kids that needed some type of help. And I was like, well, I can do this. I can do a simple addition, 2 + 2 is 4. And my friends can do this. So, this is a way we can start. Since I got so much leeway with the Boys and Girls Club, and since I know them and I've been involved with them since I was 5, this is the greatest place I can start. awiseway.com is the website we started. And that website is about speaking to professionals and using their testimonies to inspire young adults and children. The reason why I created that was working with the young adults and children for so long at the Boys and Girls Club. They can ask so many questions. How was it to be a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever the case may be? And I can't answer all those questions. But if we interview people from a perspective of their profession, they can break down how it truly is, not what TV tells you. Now, because you might look at a TV and you think being a doctor is like being like Dr. House. You can run around and just solve cases and that's it. When a real doctor might tell you it's majority paperwork. So I wanted to be able to tell the young adults what it's really like to get into a field and follow what it is that you love to do. The thing is, when you're going to college, counselors can treat you like a number. There's 20,000 students at this college, and there might be 8 counselors. So there's no way they can have a personal connection with all the people that's coming in. That's why you see all the major changes, because you initially started something you thought you wanted to do, then you get into something else once you figure out what it really is. Me, I want to nip it in the bud early so you can know what it is or what this career entails. It's like online mentorship per se. So that's one thing I created for the community. And also I'm working with Pops the Club, which is a organization about helping kids that have incarcerated family members, working with the Norris Cole Foundation. So those are my efforts working with the community. Well, what made me write the book was working with the kids for so long and reading all these self-help books. I felt as if it was necessary for young adults, because with all these self-help books, they never provide solutions. They gave these ideas of, just keep a positive mind state. Just treat others how you want to be treated. I mean, that sounds great, but how do I apply that when I'm young and I just see my brother get killed? Or my mother is on drugs? Or how do I apply this positive mind state when I'm going to school and the teacher is racist? How can I stay positive? So I wrote the book not only to provide information, but to provide application on how you can start to understand who you are. And when you asked a question about inner greatness is fulfilling your potential at what it is that you love to do. Aligning yourself and swimming downstream on what it is that you love to do. Because I noticed living for others and trying to please others can be detrimental. Because no matter what, and when you keep looking for other people for validity, you'll never get it. You can never get validity through somebody else if you don't accept yourself. It's only temporary forms of joy. Somebody might high five you for, doing a great interview or shooting a shot on the basketball court, and it feels good at that moment, but you don't live with it. So that's what my book is going to do, is validate people within themselves by taking these steps to understand yourself, because it's a cold world. As a starting point, they can start with their family. If your mother is on drugs, talk to them about how do you stop her from using drugs, or if she can be stopped, are you willing to put forth that effort, or will you give up? Because if you're willing to give up on your mother, your sister, your cousin, your little brother, if you're willing to give up on them, it's only a matter of time you're going to give up on your community as well. You're only going to work for your benefit if you're not willing to help out the people that's directly associated with you. So when you talk about community work, it starts with self as the beginning, and you got to start looking at your family. And that is the way you start rebuilding your community, is by helping those that look directly like you. Your son looks like you. Build him up to be a good citizen. Build your wife or husband up to be good citizens. Build your sister up to be a good person. You have to be the first line of checking these people. Like I just told one of my friends, I'm like, you are willing to stand in line for 8 hours for the Yeezys, but you are not willing to sit in a doctor's office with your little cousin that got a brain aneurysm or whatever the case may be. I don't feel like sitting in this all day, but you're willing to camp out for some Yeezy. Just look at that from a perspective, and you want to say, are these people going to be willing to fix the community? No, they're willing to go in line with what benefits them. So you have to change the thought process by at least affecting what looks like you. Well, I would tell them to identify with what means something to them. If they help their family, they help their friends, they helped everybody from that. You know, you always start with the lowest and you grow out. But let's say they wanted to affect the world. I would tell them what means something. Do police brutality mean something? What means something? And I would use that as a starting block. If police brutality means something, then I would advise looking into nonprofits and looking into groups that already represent that cause. Another thing is staying true to whatever it is that you're doing. If you're working at the airport, or you're working at, let's just say the school, you're working at a school and you're a janitor, you're the guy that sweeps the floor in the gym. Stay true to that. That helps the community. People don't realize this, but it's a cause and effect. The guy that sweeps the floor determines if there's going to be traction when we play basketball or football or gym activities. And we all know that play sports, you hate playing on the floor with no traction. I've twisted my ankles playing out there. Just the smallest things like that. It may seem so minuscule, but that's the way you affect your community as well, is by staying true to whatever it is that you're doing. If you pick up trash, pick up as much trash as you possibly can. Be the best person you can be at it, because it's a mind state.